Hey everyone, this is Kirk here again at OptionAlpha.com. Wanted to go over the members only video update here tonight, Monday, March 5th. I think it was a really good day. Finally, we're starting to see some good downside movement and continued selling throughout the day. None of this kind of dip and rip type action that we got going on with the markets, where the markets just seem to fall and then a lot of buyers come in and rip it back up. So I think that that's good. That's promising. You can see on some of the charts, like I have up here on the NDX, that we're really starting to break that kind of long-term trend that we've been in for the better part of 3.5 months now. We're just starting to nip at those trend lines and break those trend lines. And so that's really good, like I said. So what I want to do is go over some of the charts here tonight to help everyone along some trading ideas, and then talk about the trade that we're going to enter tomorrow. So I want to enter a naked put tomorrow, get that on the books early for April, and it's either going to be on the S or probably on the IWM is what it's looking like. So we'll go over that here tonight as well. So the first chart I want to start out with is just a chart of the NDX. This one just really catches my eye all the time because of how overextended to the top side it really has been. Now again, the key here, and I'm going to use my awesome highlighter, the key here is that it really hasn't signaled anything lately that we should be really concerned about. This is kind of why I've been on the sidelines for the most part, January, February, getting off the sidelines now. But really, the indicators haven't really turned over. They're not turned over yet, but they're starting to head in the right direction. And I think that that's good. And we'll go over some other ones as well. But if you look at the NDX, you can clearly see that there is going to be massive, massive, massive support at 2400. So any of the strategies that you're trying to trade, you want to obviously tilt them, I guess, on the put side to be below that support level. So 2300, 2250, 2200, 2150. Any of these strikes down here for credit spreads, naked puts, I think are going to be really good because you have such massive support right ahead of that. So even if we do see a real hard fall into April, which would look something similar to that if we do see a hard fall right from here, then we do have some support right there to bounce off of and get us back through most of April, and then leave time for adjustments, etc. Right? You can always start to add some trades on the top side like we've done with the RUT, and we're going to go over that here in a second. But that's the real key, right? You want to be under these support levels going forward. So if we take a look at the RUT and just look at where our position is, so we're at 910, 920, which is right up here. That's where our position is. It was a really good entry, thankfully, on our part, which is great. You don't always get those where it just kind of enters and then it starts to fall away. But again, the idea is that we entered this position away from the new prevailing trend, which is going to be lower. You can see that we finally got that downward signal on RUT just a couple days ago. We have really good areas of resistance right above it. We have recent highs, which are going to be right about here at about 875. So we have some good areas of resistance that are going to stop the index from making this continued pattern movement higher, right? It's going to come down and it's probably going to retrace somewhere around 775. I think that anywhere below 750 is where I would be comfortable personally. 775 obviously is way too close. If you can get below 750, I think that it's a good trade. Obviously, the further the better. But what we want to look out for here is that this has just started to turn over, so we could be in the middle of a trend that starts, again, looking like this, kind of slowly moving back down and retracing before it continues to either move higher or sideways or wherever the hell it wants to go from there, right? If we look at the SPX, it's been a little bit more of a slow mover than most of the other general indexes. The SPX has clearly broken out of its trading range, whereas the RUT is kind of in the middle of its trading range. But again, you can see on things like the CCI, and if we just flip over here to the MACD as well, is that some of these are really starting to turn over now. They've been kind of flat for the last couple of weeks, but now they're starting to really roll over and continue to move lower. I think on the SPX, I think the biggest resistance or support level I see going forward is going to be around 1300, right? That's where we've seen a lot of support in the past. We've seen a lot of resistance in the past, namely some of these areas here. That was a pretty easy break that we made from it back in January, and then we bounced right off of it here in the mid part of January to continue on. So I think a move back down to this area is going to be real key. I think it's going to be a solid, healthy move. As I continue to say, these types of markets are not healthy for a bullish trend. We need to see some of this more jagged movement in the markets. So if we get back down here again, as always, if we take a look at things, anything down in this area that's going to be below a couple support levels is going to be really great. Some of the calls on the SPX are not as favorable as compared to some of the things on the RUT, so that's why I'd rather stick to the RUT for call spreads. But again, you can make that decision with your own portfolio. So if we actually go to the IWM, here we go, WM on our charts. I think that where I'd like to start off with this trade for April, and again, April's got about 47 days now, 46 days left in its expiration cycle. So there's a lot of time left, 46 days. There's a lot of time left in these, but we want to get these on early to really fill up the portfolio for April. So I think April is going to be a really great month. I'd like to fill up everything, kind of max out all the trades here and get some things on the book. We have a call spread already. I'd like to get some puts on, some naked calls, and some more put spreads if we continue lower as well. But my target for the IWM tomorrow is going to be these 64 to 65 contracts. So again, when I send out the alert, just because I trade the 64s doesn't mean you can't go after something that's right in that same neighborhood, right? We have a lot of room for margin of error here. So you can kind of try and fill things at different prices and make it interesting for yourself, right? But I think that the 64s are going to be really, really good. Again, the key here is that they're below a lot of major support levels. And for me, on the put side, that's really what's really important. If we start to see a really strong, hard sell-off in the market, I want the market to be caught on these safety nets as it continues to move lower to give us time to exit or adjust or whatever we want to do, right? So that's going to be the strategy going forward tomorrow. So look out for that alert tomorrow. I think the rest of the week, some of the things on the Qs look really good as well. If we can start to see a little bit more sell-off in the Qs, then I think that the Qs on the put side are going to be good. DIA has been okay as far as its movement. I think that those are a little bit more pricey contracts. So you could probably get in the 115 to 110 range, but I'd stay under 110 for these. GLD is the last thing I want to look at tonight. It has followed these trend lines for better for worse here. Let me just take off these MACD indicators. It has followed these channel trend lines that I've drawn here for better for worse over the last year and a half. And it's been pretty interesting. They've broken out of the range and then they come right back in and follow them. So if you're looking at GLD, and I get a lot of emails about GLD, I don't know why people, maybe it's gold, maybe they just love trading gold. But this would be my target for the downside. It would be a similar type move to what happened in September of last year. I think that if gold continues its movement lower, then this is the likely target. Now, these are exact identical moves in both days and magnitude. And so all I did was just copy this and I drug it over here. It's the exact same movement. Ironically enough, halfway of that move is going to be this trend line here, and a full extension of that move is going to be the trend line all the way down here around 1040. So if you're looking for targets on the way down, those are going to be your targets. I think anything below that is going to be really safe for options. So if you can get them, I doubt they're even trading right now. But as GLD continues to move lower, that's where I look for trades on that. To really wrap up here tonight, I think that the overarching theme for this week is going to be to add a lot of trades to the market. I think that now that things are really starting to roll over and at least get a little bit more exciting, I mean, the VIX was up a little bit today, that it's going to present a really good opportunity to start filling up the April portfolio a little bit earlier, right? Now, typically, if the VIX is high, 30 to 35, in that type of range, we're not going to make these trades 47, 50 days out. That's way too long with the high VIX. You'd want to trade earlier in the cycle with the high VIX, but since the VIX has been so low, you kind of have to make adjustments, right? And take what the market gives you and trade a little bit further out and a little bit further away. And that gives you the ability to get that really good premium as well. You just have to sacrifice some of the quicker profits for some more long-term stable profits going down the road. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy these videos. Please add your comments to the video. Shoot me emails if you have any questions. But look out for the trading alert tomorrow. We're going to try to get into those IWM trades first thing in the morning. As always, happy trading.